Hemen ismini alalım.
Mohamed ELMesseiry alıyoruz o zaman.
Hello. First, I would like to take a moment to thank you all for coming here today and supporting the community and listening to technologies around OpenStack. It's just a great pleasure to be here presenting before you. So, my name is Mohamed ELMesseiry. I work for Dell EMC as a senior advisor. And I'm basically part of a team developing solutions around cloud to help the service provider and telco to transform to the cloud. And this is mainly what we are doing. So we are providing our best servers and storage from EMC as well as networking. And we are creating reference architectures for service provider and telco that can help them into making sure that they achieve the performance KPIs that they want. And we do that by partnering with other vendors. So of course we have VMware solution, part of this reference architecture, but as well we have Red Hat OpenStack as part of the virtualization layer that we are using. On top of that, we are partnering as well with other VNF or network function vendors like Versa and Affirmed and many more. So basically, we're trying to offer the best solution that can achieve the KPIs required by the service provider. And part of that is the monitoring, because you cannot have a high-performance system without having a good monitoring solution. And this is my topic for today. So I'm not going to deep dive into the solutions that we are offering around cloud and transformation. You can get this information from us outside. But today I'm going to try to work around what is required from a monitoring solution to be able to achieve your SLA and KPIs. So this is basically a lot of logos here are presented for different monitoring solutions. And in this, we can see that we have monitoring solutions specialized in some areas, like system monitoring or log management. But actually, the problem is not that, because you probably have in your environment multiple solutions working together. And the problem is not in collecting the data. It's about the analytics and how you can achieve your KPIs. And let me ask you, how many is working directly with infrastructure? What about monitoring solutions? Anyone have experience with monitoring solutions? All right, so basically, a typical a dream for an admin or an operator is to look at a page and be able to understand what's wrong in their environment. And you can never achieve that without a good monitoring system. So if you look at different cloud offerings in an NFV or a service provider offering, or even in an application platform, like if you have like a big application that you're running online, you will always have the same components. So it will always start from the data center, the networking part, the storage part, the server part, virtualization, and then the operating system on top of that, and then your application, databases, and security, and so on. So no matter which service offering that you have in your organization, or what you're offering to your customers, you will always have the same components. And the target for a monitoring system is to understand these components and be able to provide you with root cause analysis. It's a big word, right? I know. But it's very important to reach this goal. And I do think that the main part in any monitoring solution, it has to understand the topology of the components that you have in your environment and how they work together, how they interact together. What are the dependencies between those components? And then be able to draw and visualize this topology and present it to the administrator in order to be able to highlight problems and issues. It's not important to collect petabytes of logs. It's more important is to get meaningful information from those logs or from KPIs collected from different sources. So basically, you can see in this maybe animation It's like a sort of a topology, but it's not readable. I mean, you can collect this data and present it this way, but it's not readable. You need to be able to visualize better. You need to be able to drill down into details, maybe separate topologies according to who's working on that, for like topologies for storage, or even topologies for a certain application. You might also need a topology for tenants, because you're offering your infrastructure and your virtualization is also to provide applications for your customers. And then you have tenants, and you need to provide this kind of information to your tenants. So starting from the beginning, in order to understand the components, you have to start from the data center layer. Data center is where you host your servers and network equipments. And it's very important to have visibility on what's happening on the data center layer itself. So things like power failure, temperature, security breaches, even water leakage and gas leakage, this could actually impact your availability and performance. So the monitoring system needs also to have an understanding about what lies underneath the infrastructure and how it's impacting. So for example, if you have this rack with high temperature in this region, that will definitely impact the CPU and the performance of your servers. And look at this example for VEPC, Evolved Packet Core. And you will see in that you have different types of equipments. You have telco equipments, you have towers, cells, and so on. And then you have devices accessing this. You have servers, you have network, you have storage, but also you have the applications. So if you look at this diagram, you will not be able to distinguish maybe from a cloud and an uncloud deployment. They are both the same. It's only that the cloud introduced different challenges for the administrators to be able to monitor and manage their infrastructure. So the monitoring solution needs to understand the physical layer and the virtual layer. It needs to understand the performance of the servers and the network devices, but also need to link that to the virtual machines or instance running on top of that. Whether you are running OpenStack or VMware or whatever cloud platform that you are using, you need to always look at these things. You need to understand about high availability, because in a cloud environment, there are multiple instances running, and these instances are moving from one place to another. And sometimes you shut down an instance, it's no longer there in your topology, no longer there in your environment. So your monitoring solution needs to be aware of these dynamic environments. Consider IoT, for example. You have millions of sensors in your network. So you need to be able to track these sensors and be able to present meaningful information about that. The network monitoring is the core of any cloud solution. So a monitoring solution needs to be able to look at the switches, the routers, the network traditional infrastructure, but as well it needs to focus on the virtual network infrastructure, like vSwitches, like Open vSwitch, for example, vRouters. Now you have load balancers running in an instance inside a virtual machine. So you not only need to monitor these as virtual machines, you need to monitor the function of these virtual machines when it comes to network and be able to understand all the layers from the underlying network to the top. We are creating overlay networks. It's not now about VLANs and traditional separation of networking. Now we have VXLAN, GRE. It's very popular. We're using it everywhere. In OpenStack, we are using VXLAN. So the monitoring solution needs to be able to understand this network configuration and be able to separate them when it comes to tenants. So if you have a problem in your network infrastructure, you need to be able to understand the impact of these issues on your customers, your tenants. A monitoring solution as well need to be able to support and monitor multiple cloud systems. So in the OpenStack community, there are a lot of monitoring projects that are out there, but there is also enterprise tools. So your monitoring system need to be able to understand multiple things, because in an environment, you might have VMware running with OpenStack, and maybe you have other Hyper-V deployments, and maybe they are communicating together, or there are some kind of dependency. So a monitoring solution need to be linking all these cloud systems, because at the end, you want to monitor your application. You want to monitor your systems, not the infrastructure. So the monitoring system need to be aware of the services that you are offering on top of your infrastructure and applications. So it's all about applications, right? So the monitoring system need to be able to understand the final application that you're offering, whether it's a banking application or an e-commerce application, or even network function application like SD-WAN or VPC. So you need to be able to link what's happening in this application and why it's having issues, probably because of the virtualization layer, maybe because of the storage parts, maybe of the network parts, maybe of the data center parts. So you need to be able to link all of those together. And because no vendor will be able to provide every use case on the planet, the monitoring system need to be able to be extensible, so you can create your monitoring plugins and monitor new system every day, like by the use of your admins and your system operators. This is very important part, because in a dynamic cloud environment, you need to have automation in place, because automation can help a lot into a more relaxing work environment, but it's actually very crucial, because the monitoring system can help into understanding what's happening in your environment, and then take actions on behalf of you to maybe scale systems, or descale, restart applications, stop services. So all this is very important for a self-healing system, instead of a system that you are monitoring manually and managing manually. It's going to be a tedious process. So automation and orchestration works together. And again, the end result that we need a monitoring solution, that we need to understand the impact of failures and performance degradation on our business services. So your monitoring system need to be able to understand those business applications and be able to link the impact of the applications and errors in the application, problems in the application, to the business services. And you can never achieve this without analytics engine. You need to have some kind of intelligence in the monitoring system, not only to collect data and present it to you, but also to have some kind of analytics to ignore warnings or errors that are not meaningful. Because your team might be spending a lot of hours trying to analyze logs and outputs from monitoring solutions, but the answer may be simple. And that goes back to the first slide, which is the topology. So if you understand the different components and how it works, of course, the monitoring system understand that, then it will be able to provide you with a better solution and root cause of issues. So it's not only about the core of your business. There are other support services that is required to run a successful system. Consider, for example, notification systems that you are using to send SMSs or emails to your team when something goes wrong. So these systems as well need to be part of your monitoring portfolio. You need to monitor them for availability and performance. Things like ticketing system, CMSs, billing system, and of course CMDB and so on. So all of that I've said is very important, but what's more important is to have it in a faster time to deploy, because the purpose again is to monitoring our system, not to invest a lot of effort into monitoring our monitoring system. That's a big problem because we need all of this to be easy to deploy and easy for time to operate. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much. If you have any question, please. Any questions?